What if I told you that somewhere in Nigeria, deep beyond paved roads and Instagram filters, there's a spring people swear has changed their lives? Not in hospitals, not in churches, not in laboratories, but here, hidden behind winding footpaths, long stretches of silence, and places your phone signal gives up on. There's water people approach differently. They say the water doesn't just flow, it remembers. It remembers footsteps, intentions, burdens, and maybe even secrets whispered into it decades ago. Yet somehow, nobody talks about it. No billboards announcing miracles, no glossy documentaries on cable TV, no trending hashtags or viral clips, no influencer pointing and saying, "You won't believe this place." Why? Is it sacred? Is it feared? Or is it being quietly protected from the world? Stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, we're going to places most cameras never reach. Places where stories aren't uploaded, they're guarded. Where silence is not emptiness, but intention. And before we go any further, hit subscribe now. Trust me, if this video disappears someday, you'll want to say you were here first. You'll want to remember that you heard it before everyone else suddenly started pretending they always knew. In many Nigerian communities, knowledge isn't written, it's whispered. Not everything important is carved into stone or printed in books. Some things are passed down through pauses in conversation, through warnings disguised as jokes, through looks that say, "You're not ready for that story yet." The elders don't announce sacred places. They test you. They listen to how you ask. They watch why you ask. They decide whether you're curious or careless. Mention this spring to the wrong person, they'll laugh. They'll wave you off and say you've been watching too many videos online. They'll tell you it's just water, just bush, just stories for children. Mention it to the right one though, and suddenly the room gets quiet. Conversation slow. Eyes shift. Someone clears their throat. Some call it a healing spring. Others call it a spirit water. A few won't call it anything at all, because names, they believe, attract attention. And attention brings questions, questions bring crowds, crowds bring consequences. And what you're about to hear next is the reason some locals refuse to even point at it. They'll change the subject instead, or tell you, gently, to mind what you're looking for. If you're Nigerian or African and you've heard stories like this before, comment, "I know this." Let's see who's really tapped in. Let's see who understands that not everything valuable is loud. We're not giving you GPS coordinates. And no, it's not because we're hiding things. It's because that's how it survives. Most sacred springs in Nigeria exist near ancient trade routes, places where people once rested after long journeys, exchanged stories, exchanged goods, and exchanged parts of themselves. Others sit close to old settlement grounds, villages that moved or faded but left something behind. Some are found near abandoned spiritual sites, places where rituals stopped but memory didn't. This one, it's near a community most people drive past without stopping. You know the kind of place. You slow down only because of potholes. You don't roll down your windows. You don't ask questions. You pass through and forget it 5 minutes later. But location is the least interesting thing about this place. What matters is what people say happens after they visit, not during, after. If you're watching this late at night, pause the video, lock your doors, and keep going. You're in too deep now. You've already crossed the point where curiosity turns into connection. We spoke to farmers, traders, a retired teacher, different people, different lives, different beliefs. Same pattern. They didn't say the water cured them. Nobody claimed instant miracles. Nobody promised anything dramatic. Instead, they said things that sounded almost understated. After that day, my body felt lighter. I stopped dreaming the same bad dream. Things just shifted. No fireworks, no shouting, just quiet change. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's the part that messes with your head. Most of them didn't go there to be healed. They went for something else. Some went because they were tired and didn't know where else to sit with that tiredness. Some went because an elder told them to fetch water. No explanation given. Others went because they were lost, emotionally or spiritually, and the path happened to pass by. And healing followed, not as an announcement, not as a reward, just as a byproduct. And one story, made us stop recording and just listen. No cameras, no notes, just silence and respect. A story that didn't want to be rushed or packaged. We'll tell you that story in a moment. Like this video now. It helps this story travel where it needs to go, not everywhere, just where it belongs. Let's slow down for a second. Water can't magically fix people. Science matters. Belief alone doesn't rewrite biology, and pretending otherwise helps no one. So what could be happening? There are real possibilities. Mineral-rich groundwater can affect the body in subtle ways over time. Psychological belief effects are powerful. When people believe something is sacred, their minds respond differently. Stress release in sacred environments is real. Places removed from noise and pressure can change how the body feels. Cultural rituals can reset the mind, offering structure where chaos once lived. All of these explanations exist. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Science hasn't studied this spring. Not because it doesn't exist, but because nobody invited science in. Because the moment you invite outsiders, you also invite extraction. You invite people who don't want to understand, only to measure. People who don't want to protect, only to profit. And when belief systems collide with outside attention, things get complicated. If you're enjoying this balance of mystery and logic, subscribe. We do stories others won't touch, stories that refuse to flatten culture into clickbait. Here's the real secret. The silence is intentional, because when sacred places go viral, 3 things happen. They get commercialized, someone starts charging entry, someone starts bottling water, someone starts promising results they can't guarantee. They get polluted, trash appears, noise follows, the water changes, and they lose meaning. What was once approached with humility becomes content. What was once sacred becomes background noise. Some elders believe attention kills power, not metaphorically, literally. Others fear exploitation, foreign researchers, tourists, or influencers, turning belief into content, turning community into spectacle. Sound familiar? And there's one incident from the past that made this community lock the story away. One event people still talk about in fragments. It involved outsiders, money, and regret. After that, silence became a form of protection. Today, the spring still flows. Quiet, unbranded, unverified. No signposts, no official name. People still come, but carefully. Not in groups, not with cameras, not with demands. No crowds, no promises. Just water and intention. And maybe that's the point. What if the power was never in the water, but in how people approach it? In patience, in respect, in not expecting anything at all. Share this video with one person who respects culture and mystery. Not everyone deserves this story. Some things are meant to be passed hand to hand, not blasted to everyone at once. This isn't a story about magic water. It's a story about forgotten knowledge, about cultural protection, about the things modern life ignores because they don't scale well, because they refuse to be trendy, because they refuse to be rushed. Nigeria is full of places like this. Not trending, not monetized, still breathing. The question isn't, does the spring heal? The real question is this: what else are we losing because nobody listens anymore? If you want more stories like this, stories that sit between myth, memory, and truth, subscribe now, because some secrets only survive if they're told carefully.